Hi everyone. In this, just going to show you that how do we add for extra capacity another compute node. So let me go ahead and start sharing my desktop. So hopefully you can see that now we have just finished installing a couple of services on our AI node like MySQL, RabbitMQ, Keystone, Glance, Nova, Neutron, and now we will be adding another compute node for extra capacity or extra resources. So we'll go ahead and install the Nova, and we will be installing the Neutron plugin. And if you recall that in the AIO we did configure 8.1 into the GRE. So we will be doing the similar configuration on our compute node, like we will be configuring 8.1 as part of your GRE tunnel, 8.2 for the external connectivity, 8.0 which is already configured for our network management. So let me go ahead and start sharing my query session. I have logged on to my compute node. So let's go ahead and have a look. What do you see on the compute node? We do see an IP address 10.164.182, which is for heat 0. Let's look. We have 8.1, heat 2, but there are no IP addresses 8.1 and heat 2. So let's go ahead and configure them first. Let's go ahead and save the changes. Now let's so we'll go ahead and see the account. Zero. Okay. Now let's go ahead and sync the time as usual, and then we'll install NTP and we can do some other thing. Now let's just configure the ntp.conf and let the ones folder. So we can do pretty much. And if you verify your NTP.conf, just send let's do it. Let's go ahead and restart our NTP server. Okay, so I've restored my network connectivity. Let me go ahead and start sharing the screen again. Thank you for your patience. So let's go ahead. I was about to restart the NTP services. So Start the NTP services. And the NTP service looks good now. Let's go ahead and update the system and we'll do a desktop upgrade too. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and install the Nova hypervisor and Neutron plugin. I'll walk you through all the install command that we'll be writing. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and update the VM kernel like we did earlier. So these are the packages that I installed earlier. So let's go ahead and install some packages. Once this is done, we'll go ahead and update the properties for our both VMs like the way we did earlier. Now we'll go ahead and create the same similar open not to type the credentials over and over. Now we'll go ahead and edit our nova.conf and then we'll go ahead and edit the novacompute.conf with the appropriate data, which is pretty much matching the similar details what we did on the AIO node when we configured Nova Compute. So this is pretty much the same what we did earlier as I mentioned. So I just did a copy paste from my other server, and now let's go ahead and save this file. And we need to update the mobile compute also. And if you recall, we are not using KVM, we are using linear process here. We need to go ahead and upgrade the neuron.com. We are using the M12 the plugin for the neuron. Our PC backend Rabbit host. And the password is S. We need to tell the input that we plan to use the OBS, so we'll go ahead and add some of those files. I will go ahead and copy paste my notes, which is exactly the same what we did on other server. Let's go ahead and find the security code, OBS details. Now let's go ahead and save the changes. We need source our input passive file. Let's go ahead and verify our all PC now. So we can do Nova servers. Okay, and we can see all these services are up. And if you're particularly paying attention to the Nova compute, we have two Nova compute running on AIU and one on the compute. And both are part of the Nova zone. The rest of the things are under internal. Now let's go ahead and verify the new Chrome. You can first on this one, and you would see the L3 agent is running on the AIU 72, but Open vSwitch is running on your compute. Rest of the things are on the controller node. So far everything looks good. Verify. If you do AIF config cache, you would see we got an OBS system. 0, we have a VR interface got created, we have a VR turn interface. We can verify the same thing by doing the OBS VSCTL, and we can do a show command. So you can see we have a VR tunnel interface, one on the our IP65.182, the remote IP65.172. So we got a GRE up and running within these two systems, and you can see we have VR tunnel interface, VR end interface, which are the interloop interface. And that's what it completes our. Now we have added a compute node to our controller, doubling the capacity for the resources basically. Now let's do some testing on and the GRE tunnel. To do that, let's go ahead and log into our AIU node. Let me go ahead and log into our AIU node. We are on the AIU node. Let's go ahead and keep here for SSH, and it's pretty easy. SSH gen, and we got the browser and safety. You can see it's saved under root.ssid. RSA basically. Now add the key to the system. So we use the Nova keep here, add. We'll use the syntax // key, and you would see the path it says id RSA dot. So you can just simply specify equal path, and let's call it my key, my demo key, or you can just keep it like my key basically. Okay, I forgot to source the. Let's go ahead and source it now. Let's go ahead and add this. So we went ahead and added. And if you want to very simply do it now, keep here, and you can get to see the my key. Now, if you want to do SSH to our VMs or the instances and ping, so let's go ahead and open two rules. One for the SSH, another for the ICMP. Let me go ahead and copy paste that for my notes. So I won't do any typos here. So you can see we are adding a Nova security group add rule. Under default, we are enabling TCP port 22 service destination from anywhere. So we went ahead and did that. And let's do the same thing for the ICMP traffic also. Now we will go ahead and launch an instances. Well, to launch the instance, we need to specify a couple of things like the flavor ID, the image ID. If you recall, the flavor ID is nothing but just simply a resource allocation profile that you have defined that dictates how many virtual CPUs, amount of memory, and some of the things. If you want to get the flavor, you can type no flavor list, and you would get to see all of your flavors that are on the system, and that's the ID how you represent that. And the name is tiny amount of memory, disk, and virtual CPU. And similarly, you can get the image list, and if you recall that we had uploaded one Xerox image, which was close to like 13 MB, so we have this one available. And you can do hyper to get a list of how many hypervisor. And if you remember, we just added a compute node to our hypervisor. So we have two hypervisor running, which is our AI node and the compute node. So now what we're going to do, we will go ahead and launch two instances. We'll launch one instance on our AI node, another one on our compute node. And these two instances are across two different hosts. But if you recall, we have just set up a GRE tunnels. So once both of these hosts are up, they should get an IP from the internal subnet that we defined during our Neutron lab by 10.10.10.0/24. So we should get an IP, and over GRE tunnels, we should be able to communicate pretty much. So launching instance is not very difficult. It's pretty simple, straightforward. So if you see, I'm saying Nova boot, and I'm specifying image in the CROS image. I'm giving the name here. We're using the flavor one, which is tiny. Availability zone is Nova, and if you recall, that was part of the Nova zone, and we're using a key over here. And if you don't remember the zone, and let me just show you over here, and if you see on the compute node, we did a Nova service list, and that showed us that we have two compute nodes, and you can see the zone being used in Nova. So under Nova, we have AIO and compute. So let's go ahead and be giving a name. We are using this key, and we are starting an instance by name test AIO on the AIO, which is nothing but our controller. So let's go ahead and start that instance. And you would see right now it says it's going under scheduling, and let me go ahead and maximize further. So you can see it says Nova manual. Nova is the zone. This is the instance name, scheduling, building, and admin password. Flavor being used as this is the flavor. This is the key that we're using. That's our image name that we specified. Tenant ID and user ID. Now let's go ahead and spawn up another instance, and we will go ahead and spawn this instance on the compute node instead of our AIO. And you can see it started doing a scheduling and similar things. And let's verify what is there. So we can do a Nova, your list of your VMs. So you would see that we have the two VMs, and you would see that they received an IP address from the private net. This received 10.2, another one received 10.4. Both are active and up and running. And if you want to get a list of the VNC, if you want to connect to any of these VMs, we can do get a VNC console for which one. So we just need to tell the name test.io, and now VNC. Similarly, we can get to see for the Nova compute. and you would see that this is the URL. If we connect to one of these hosts via VNC, we will be able to ping across these two hosts, and I can show you the one. Let me go ahead and log into our test AIU. Looks like I'm running into some issues with my VM. But once you log into these URLs, you will be able to log in and you will see the IP. You can have a ping across, and you will notice that ping is over the GRE tunnel. Okay, so I was able to connect to my VM. Let me go ahead and start sharing that with them. And let's go ahead and log in to this host, and you can see the username is possible. Now let's confirm the IP address. And you can see shows the pictures over here. Maybe we need to reboot our VM for that to work, but you got the idea that once you start spawning the VMs, and you can communicate over the GRE tunnel. Thanks for watching.